And I think it's also changed too over time, because when I first started, I did everything. I was my accountant, my photographer, my videographer, I did all of that. And now it's a series of working with a whole team and basically planning this content out, being able to come up with a concept together, shoot that concept, whether it's video or photo, and then basically bring it to life for the brands that I'm working with. So honestly, like I said, every day is different. You know how it goes.
Trust me. Today is probably the only day I'll wear makeup this week.
Yeah.
Except for the other days that I'm shooting.
Yeah, tomorrow's my last day of makeup this week.
That's like the best when you can just like stop trying.
I think it's why we also have pretty good skin. It's because we don't wear makeup as often as people think we do.
I've even stopped wearing makeup to like business meetings. I had a business meeting and I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I wore a hat. I looked I didn't even, and it was with a beauty brand. I just didn't care. Zero Fs. But one thing that I noticed about your blog that no one else does, I mean, I'm sure other people do it, but I don't notice when they do it, which is that you actually list the members of your team, and that it is not just you sitting behind a computer making things work, and that it takes a village, obviously, to raise a kid, but also to raise a blog.
Right. So there is a lot of people who help me. And the phrase, Rome wasn't built in a day is 100% accurate. Like I said, I started doing everything on my own, and now there's a lot of people who help me with every piece of the business. And I've also learned that the content ends up a lot better when you have experts. Sure, I can take my own photos and I can use a tripod and take kind of a selfie full outfit shot, but why would I do that when I can get a professional to take an amazing photo, mess with the aperture, things that I don't want to deal with on my own, So I think it always makes for the best quality content to have experts in each individual field basically helping you.
How long ago did you start your blog?
So I started the blog in January of 13. So I'm coming up to about 7 years in 2020, which is super exciting.
How have you seen things change then? Not just with technology improving and the rise of influencers, but just the way people react to your work.
So I think back in the day, people were very negative about sponsored posts and ads, and I think they were always kind of skeptical, but they didn't understand what it was. And now people are getting a lot smarter, and I'm really glad that consumers are getting smarter, because it drives me crazy when the same person promotes 10 or 15 competing brands back to back to back. We see this in the beauty YouTube space, where some of those big YouTubers, it's Too Faced, then it's Benefit, then it's Tarte. And I'm like, you can't like every single foundation. It doesn't make sense. You have a favorite, you have maybe a top 3, but it can't be a different brand every week. It's just not plausible. So I'm glad consumers, I see people calling them out on their YouTube channels, and they're like, wait, you were just talking about this other foundation. Which one should I buy? I'm confused. Consumers are getting smarter. So I think that's been a really big shift, where you want the people to be very authentic and real. You can't promote every brand. You can't keep taking paychecks, because the audience is going to be like, you're just taking everything you get because you want to make money. You're not actually giving us the best recommendations. So I think consumers have gotten smarter over time. Brands, I feel still need to catch up personally. But influencers, I think the content has also escalated. People are creating and putting out better quality content, which I think is really important. I really do like being challenged. I see a lot of inspirational people out there, and it's nice to be challenged when you see their stuff and you're like, wow, I really need to up my game, because, I got to be at another level here, because people are really putting out good quality stuff.
But I think that's a little bit of the problem, and I do that too, where I'm like, oh, these photos are so amazing, or I'll see, it's really funny, there are certain people that I follow, and they have really colorful feeds, and it's all about your feed and all of that. And I decided to experiment with that, and just to sort of try something really for fun. And someone called me out on it. And they're like, you're too, she didn't say I was overly face-tuned, but I was really edited. But it was more like I was playing with, and I blocked her and I deleted her. And I didn't want to deal with this hater. And the truth is, it did look a little bit different. I was trying to play around. But it also kind of gives people unrealistic expectations that you used to have to get something professionally photoshopped, and we all know that we can fix something, even a story, in 2 minutes, or in my case 30 minutes, through editing.
I think the difference is having these photos that make you look absolutely flawless and having content that's very creative. What I've been kind of focusing on this year is doing stuff that's a little bit outside of the box. And there's a couple influencers who inspire me personally. One is Teza. I think I've mentioned you to her before, or you.
I think so.
Her to you. But she does a lot of creative concepts where it's very clear they thought it through. The caption was thought out. It's always witty or punny or something. And that's the difference, I think. Rather than just like showing these photos where people are on yachts and drinking champagne all the time, which is not real. That's just like what happens once in a blue moon. But she's more creative, so the concepts and ideas and brand work that she does is very well thought out, which I think is where influencer marketing should be going. I think you need to come up with a concept. It can't just be this stupid selfie where you're holding a product. You're holding like a random beauty product and you're like, just use this. I'm like, can we get something better but not overly photoshopped? It's like, you gotta be right in between. You can't be doing selfies when you're getting paid, but you also shouldn't have this like overly curated concept, you know?
No, I agree. It's hard to find that like fine line of what works, what doesn't, making the brands happy and making you happy. I was actually reading an article. It was a follow-up. There's a very famous article from 2011 about Mormon mommy bloggers from Salon. I'm going to send it to you. It's super interesting. And a lot of these people that were the first bloggers from like, I think it was Blogspot or Blogger.com, I mean like really 1.0, all these people started to call them out. And these were not people who had super edited photos. This was like, almost 10 years ago. And people were saying that like they lost business. And then I think the rise of Instagram, and now I think we're going back to just saying like, we know this isn't real. It still makes us feel bad, but we know it isn't real. So what do you do to sort of set yourself apart from everything else? Because there's so much content out there, and I think that's that's like the biggest challenge, is like, how do you make yourself unique? Well, if everyone's unique, no one's unique.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference for what I'm doing is I don't want anyone to leave my feed feeling crappy about themselves. And that's like the biggest thing. And there's some people who, there was this, I remember I had a conversation with someone a long time ago, and they just said, you need to have people who basically want your life, who are inspired by you, but they want to be you. And the only way to do that is to basically make them feel bad and show them the best of your life. And that is not at all what I'm going for. I am like very real, very raw, like always having a bad hair day. I'm like, there's always lipstick on my chin.
You have like gorgeous.
I'm like, there's always lipstick on my chin.
Your hair
is just straight.
It's as gorgeous as mine is fake. Like, it's great. Like,
so I'm just, like I said, I'm just like so real. Like I've gone on camera before and I literally had lipstick like on my chin. And I'm like, how the hell did that even get there? You know, and it's like, oh, I was eating something and there's lipstick on me. But that's real life, you know? And I think that over curation really kills the reality. So I think there's that fine line is really where I'm kind of playing with at the moment of, I want high quality content, but I also want it to be realistic and relatable and not make people feel bad about who they are, whether it's body size, body type, all of that good stuff. Because I'm very much into the body positivity movement, but I also think we need diversity. So my feed is just about bringing people together and being real and raw without making anybody feel bad. It's doable.
No, it is. It is. Let me ask, what is the hardest thing or the most challenging thing that you've had to reveal on your blog or on Instagram that was just really deep and next level?
I think the deepest one was probably just sharing my background and the fact that, you know, we come from very, very humble beginnings because we came here from Bosnia. So just sharing that story and telling people, like, I really came from nothing. Like, this is a self-made business. Like, I'm a self-made person. I'm not sharing these things because I'm trying to throw stuff in your face. I really do believe in the products that I'm promoting. But I think sharing that journey of where I came from was really hard, because when you're that vulnerable, people are always there's always gonna be haters that are gonna come at you and be like, oh, boo-hoo, you know, like people who just don't sympathize with you. So I think that was definitely one of the more deep, intense posts that I did.
It's hard. So you came here from Bosnia when you were how old?
5.
I mean, I can't imagine, one, being a refugee is hard enough as it is, just that entire situation. And just like coming from another country, coming to America, which is such a big, I think we're such an in-your-face country. Like, there's nothing subtle about being American. And just having to deal with this like culture shock. And you're a kid and you're fleeing something absolutely off. Like, how do you deal with that? And how does that make you a better person? Because I think that our challenges in life can either make us or break us.
Yeah. I think the whole journey has made me very much a go with the flow kind of person. I'm pretty relaxed and chill. And there's very few things nowadays that will set me off. You know, some people are very high maintenance. They have to have everything done a certain way every day, and that's just not me. I was just joking with one of my colleagues yesterday about this because he has to have his vodka completely frozen and chilled or it's not being drank.
Are you sure that's not my dad that you're working with? Because that's my dad.
But that's one of those things where people have these preferences, and me, I'm like, I don't care what temperature the vodka is, just throw it in the glass, you know what I mean? And I'm so go with the flow, so I think that's helped me through everything that I've gone through and through the blog journey, because I'm kind of just rolling with the punches at this point. You know, things change, Instagram changes their algorithm, and I just roll with it.
I mean, we can't even get it. We could devote 20 episodes of this show to the Instagram algorithm.
Yes.
It's ruining our lives.
Yep.
But it's a lot. That's the other thing. That's just a different, that's just a different thing entirely. Another bed of nails. I don't know the term. It's like I'm trying to think of the term, and it's just not coming to me. And it's like this would be a very funny Instagram story right now, and like just totally just kills it on this show. But let me ask, so one thing that I think people know about you, but not everyone does, and I think it's so important to point out, which is that you had a day job, not that, like you had to like go to an office and go like work and deal with people, and it wasn't about likes, or it was like you were actually adulting.
Yep.
Up until when did you leave your day job?
So I left the day job in October, and
that's not that long, less than a year.
It's not even a year yet, so I'm still kind of new in this phase of working for myself and being an entrepreneur and all this good stuff. But you know, the interesting thing too is that I was working at the corporate job for about 5 years, and I was doing the blog, so it was 5 years of doing both. So I basically didn't sleep much, and then I decided towards the end of this that I was going to add a marathon into it. I don't know what I was thinking. Crazy. I had no time. So when I left the corporate job, there were so many signs. I kept asking for a sign, and it was like, okay, you have to make this much money blogging so you can afford your life. Okay, now you have to make this much so you're like comfortable. And then it's like, what am I waiting for? Why am I so scared? And it's because nothing is guaranteed in this space. Someone can take a job from you tomorrow and you may not end up with a paycheck. So it's like there's that uncertainty, but there's also such a huge benefit with being your own boss and doing your own thing and just making the rules for yourself. So it's definitely panned out, but it was definitely scary doing that. And like I said, I'm still so new to it. So it's not like, you know, I've been doing this for 2 years and I'm like, in a groove in a way with just being on my own.
You know, and I think that people don't realize though that you had a job for all of those years in addition to doing what you were doing, and is that sound going to be on camera? Sorry, I remember last time I was here, the same thing happened, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
No, don't worry about it. Kip and I fight through it, and then we will retake it, depending on the noise level, and if he, hits the horn right before he passes by the studio. So generally, just try to ignore it when it goes through, and then we will break it back. All right, stay. You're in, since you're still in focus here. All right, take it back. Go forward when you're ready.
What was
now? Back and forth like that. Okay.
Sorry, what was I asking you? Now I can't remember.
The day job.
So.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, most people just don't know that it's not just like your life is a blogger and you're out and you're doing all of these things. Let me ask, when did you also decide to start doing things like